There is a dire shortage in Bexar County of lawyers who can be the difference between lethal injection and life in prison.
Paul Venema interviewed only 11 of the capital murder lawyers in Bexar County. Here's a clip from the story.
The stakes are as high as they can get. A trip to the death chamber looms as a possibility for a defendant accused of capital murder.
I like the challenge, and I feel that these individuals need the best defense that they can get.
Perez and attorney Ray Fuchs are among 11 defense attorneys qualified to serve as first chair, the lead attorney in capital murder cases. It's work intense and not financially lucrative.
There are some lawyers that either for financial reasons or stress have dropped off the first chair list.
Among those on the list are 68 indigent defendants in need of representation.
We have too many courts and too many cases competing for the same small pool of lawyers.
Paul Venema joins us now for our court debrief. And first of all, fascinating, because I had no idea this was even a problem. There's only 11 attorneys.
I'm going to update that. Just this morning, Judge Harrell called me and said, guess what? We got one more lawyer.
There's 12.
Yeah, we're up to a dozen now. Yeah,
not a vast difference, though.
Yeah, the problem's over. No, that's a real serious situation for everybody, really, obviously for the people who are accused, but also for the families of the victims in these cases, having to wait and wait and wait. A death penalty case takes a long time to work its way through the courts anyway. But when you add this element, it becomes an even longer wait for everybody involved. And
you interviewed several defense attorneys. You interviewed Judge Sid Harrell. What are some of the possible solutions to increase the pool of people that could be first chair lawyers in these capital cases?
Well, the way they're appointed is through a committee. So what we need to do, and the committee is acting at the pleasure of the state legislature. So this committee has to have some of the standards, not relaxed necessarily, but at least changed so that they can bring more lawyers into this. So it starts in Austin, and the reality is it's highly unlikely we're going to see anything this session.
So they need the legislature to give them kind of more relaxed standards.
Exactly. Make their job easier.
What is the #1 sticking point as far as being one of these attorneys?
Well, being qualified. The qualifications, you have to do it in order to be qualified, but in order to do it, you have to get appointed, and to get appointed, you have to meet these certain requirements. If it's a death penalty case, you have to be qualified to argue mitigation on behalf of the defendant, stuff that tends to favor them. So it's getting the experience. You can't get the experience until you get there, and you can't get there without having the experience.
Unless you have the experience, of course. So one of the aspects of your story that I found very interesting, Paul, was that this problem may have an unintended consequence, and that is it may lead to an eventual end of the death penalty right here in Texas.
And that's why death penalty opponents do not want this thing to change. They want things to be more and more difficult to go through with these executions. In the meantime, they like that, obviously. And it could, according to Judge Harrell, that could be a reality in all this.
Is this only a problem in Bexar County?
It is right now in Bexar County, yeah. That's as far as we've gotten with this. Yeah.
But that's a big problem.
It is indeed. And another problem with that is you and I are paying for this. While these people are in jail waiting to get their cases adjudicated, we're putting them up in jail.
And if it's not a problem anywhere else, how likely is the legislature to take it on?
Well, exactly. I talked to Judge Harrell about that. He said they can't even get a sponsor for it right now. So there's absolutely no chance this session. And if we have a special session, it certainly wouldn't be one of the items called up in the special session.
Sounds like we're isolated.
A couple of years down the road, yeah.
Okay. Yep. Thank you so much, Paul. And of course, you can read Paul's story right now. It's on the KSAT 12 homepage, along with his coverage of the courts this week. And Paul is now headed down to see what's going on with Carlos Uresti's charges in federal courts.
That's an interesting case. It's really something that is going to take a lot of digging. Of course, Uresti says everything's unfounded. That's quite often what you get in a situation like this. So we'll go down and see what happens as far as their first appearance.
And I'm sure you'll have a live report at 5 or 6.
We'll have something at noon, hopefully.
Oh, at noon. Good. Even better.